Hello, everyone. I'm Dave, and I'm here with Tiffany. Um, she's been targeted since birth, and I'm gonna ask her the first question. Usually, I ask the question, "What was your life like before Target? And what's it like now?" But since she's been targeted, since birth, we're gonna ask her. I'm gonna ask you, what was your, what's your life been like? How did you find out something wasn't right here? What was going on in your life? Could you sort of give us a little like a background about you and how all this began, this journey on finding out targeting and all that?
Okay, so when I was 18, I was working and my dad came in and he's like, "I need to confess something to you." And I was like, "What? Like what's going on?" He goes, "Yeah, when you were 4, you were raped." And I was like, "Okay, like why are you telling me?" You know? And then that's when I noticed the outward targeting started. So as soon as I became an adult, and it led me to, you know, later on in life trying to figure out like why is this happening? Like I didn't understand because I was like, okay, all these people are, they're living normal lives. Why is mine so different? And I couldn't remember anything before that point of the rape at 4. I can remember clearly afterwards. I remember walking through the casino, trying to get food and being scared out of my mind suddenly. And so I thought maybe that they had wiped my memory from 4 and before. Another thing that happened was about 2 weeks before I was even born, when I was in the womb, my parents got T-boned and I almost died. And then at 2 weeks after I was born, I got I got an infection from the hospital, and they took me without my mom's permission, and they did a spinal tap on me at that age. And that led
Wow.
me into doing some research about super soldiers. And I'm like, I looked into it, and I don't know if that's what it is, but it seems like I might have been in that program, and that's what led me to put the pieces of the puzzle together, figuring out that like my great grandpa, he was a G-man, and I guess G-men couldn't be put in that position unless they were a Freemason. And I knew that he was a Freemason because that was the only way they could get me into the Rainbow Girls at 9 years old, which I totally, I totally, what do you call it when you, any oaths that you made in that?
Yeah. Uh, man, that's interesting that they went in your spine twice. They went in your spine. They went in mine twice in 2022 in the hospital. There was something
Yeah,
else I was going to say, comment on. Um,
yeah, they say that it's about cloning. And so I have a gift I can see in the spirit realm, and I've seen my clones. And you can believe anybody could believe me that I can actually do that or not, but I know that it's that I actually have that gift because I've actually healed people from afar, and it was a blind healing. Like I was the middleman, so I wasn't talking to the person, another person was, and they were able to say, "Yes, I'm healed." So
right. So
interesting.
they confirmed with you they were healed.
Yes, through someone else. So it was blind. It was not like, they were like lying to me or anything. They actually said they were without us asking.
Right.
And that happened hundreds of times. So,
Right. I'm trying to think. And that's very interesting about uh the cloning. I I'm I don't know if it exists or not. Maybe it does. And if you say it does, then I guess it does.
Yeah,
Uh,
one of most of my clothes are like debilitated. Like they were trying to get a perfect me, and one of them is like me but perfected. Like I saw her run really fast. And so the other part of it is something that I haven't heard yet in the targeted community is about why we're targeted. I think it's for spiritual reasons
right,
because I came across something a few years ago and someone said, well, I was told directly by the Lord Jesus in prayer that I'm part of the 144,000. I'm still like a kind of like, really, but I believe that maybe they see something in us or they know something about us because, Satan's been around for thousands of years. Maybe they can just know things in the spirit that we can't, in our physical bodies.
right. And
Yeah.
for anybody watching right now, I try to give everybody a chance to tell their own story. So please be open-minded. You know, everybody has their own unique experience. Uh, do you think, or do you think it's possible that they implanted false memories in you as far as the cloning thing?
Um, I don't think so because I do this thing. I've been trained in spiritual warfare and I do this thing where I protect myself before I do anything like that. And so I had put a protection on myself before and I did it like in a way that I wasn't talking about it. They couldn't have known because I wasn't thinking about it. I just decided to look one day because I was curious. So I don't think that's an implant. I can tell the difference between implanted memories now and non-implanted. Like there's a guy that I was talking to from SEAL Team 6 and I had an implanted memory of him when I was young, like in a white coat standing over me. I'm pretty sure that was implanted memory.
Right. And you gotta people have to understand too that some people are targeted because of spiritual gifts. So I'm not doubting what you're saying at all. I think people are targeted for different reasons. Some people, if they have ESP gifts or any kind of spiritual gifts, they're definitely targeted and monitored and studied.
Yeah.
So do you get the gang stalking? Do you get stalked and or organized stalking?
Um, I only remember gang stalking from when I was about 19 or 20 when it first started, when I was living with my boyfriend at the time and I had two kids with him and he decided, he told me I want you to stay home with the kids, so I didn't have a job. And he decided he was going to leave me and and take custody of the kids. So I don't know, maybe if this is part of that, like that they target people like that, but the people that I ended up moving in with, I knew that something was really off because I would be like listening to them while they were outside and they would be answering the questions that I was like or whatever I was thinking in my mind.
And they were
So
outside answering it out loud.
yeah, there was like five or six of them just having a conversation about what I was thinking. It was the most bizarre thing I ever experienced.
Did you try to find yourself thinking of something else just to see if they would talk about that too?
No, but I do that now because I know that they're listening all the time. So because I can hear in the spirit and I can see in the spirit, sometimes I'll like chime in.
Right.
But I'm like, this is, you know, I I don't want them to think that they're good guys. You know what I mean?
Right. And backing up, when you said G-man, some people might not know what that is. Could you explain what a G-man is?
Yes, it was an FBI. They were like special government men that would go and I I don't exactly know how to explain it. They were like a special part of the government. So there wasn't a lot of them. There was maybe 100, couple hundred of them.
And you
And
said your grandpa was one?
yeah,
And could you explain what Rainbow Girls are?
yes,
Ain't
Rainbow
they basically
Girls.
Eastern Stars in training?
Yes. Yes, they are the younger version of them. So it's like a step down from the Eastern Stars. So like it's like an initiation into a part of the Freemasonry for women.
Right. Do you have any do you remember anything specific that was off about
Oh
being
yeah. Oh yeah. We went to this this like camp for the Rainbow Girls, and we were all sitting in the cabin. There was like maybe 20 people in this one little cabin, and I suddenly felt like I was having a heart attack. And it was so bad that I like passed out and dropped to the ground, and nobody said anything to me. So, like looking back, I'm like, that must have been like one of their heart attack guns or something, you know? It
right?
was the most
So how old
bizarre
were you at the
thing.
time that happened?
I was about 9.
Wow. And when did what point did you realize and you said you renounced your oath and turned to
Yes.
Yahshua?
Not yet. I renounced it later on in life. I actually have a testimony if I can share it. I haven't
Go
shared it anywhere.
okay.
So
I'm
when
very
I
aware of
was,
the Eastern Star and all that. My handler was what she claimed to be one. I kind of I don't doubt that she had connections, but now that looking back, I question if she really was.
okay. So yeah, so things like Eastern Star, I don't know if like my aunt was part of that. That was on that same side as my great grandfather. But that part of the family is very demonic. Like she had a necklace when she was growing up that they could not get rid of. Like they moved and threw it away and it kept coming back, things like that. And so I knew that there was some kind of maybe satanic ritual abuse type stuff going on in that family. But my memory is gone from before 4 years old, so I
Right.
don't really know for sure.
But you
So
remember them moving and leaving the necklace and it showing back up?
that was a story that my mom told me later on. She said that my aunt was into that kind of stuff. And
Right.
my grandma, she's well, I'm just not going to talk about her.
Yeah, yeah. Anything you don't feel comfortable, don't feel like you're pressured to say anything at all.
Yeah. Um, so growing up, I didn't know this, but I had demons in me from whatever reason. I think at 4 when the rape happened, from what I learned from super soldiers is they open you up to multiple personalities and that they can pass demons on to you. And so I believe that and maybe transferred from my mom or something. But by the time I was 20, I found out that I had demons in a very strange way. I met some guy that was institutionalized. We hung out for like 2 weeks. Things, really bizarre things happened around him. Like we got in a, a butcher knife fight in the middle of the street because someone looked at him sideways. It was really bizarre. So we were hanging out in the place that I was living at the time, and I still didn't have my kids. So I was really just not in a good place. And I was like, "What? Do I have a demon?" And he just started talking to the demons and calling them out. And so one at a time, they they were coming out, and I heard them scream and say like, "I hate God," and I heard them like fling the door open and trip over the fence outside. My brother actually thinks it's pretty funny. But so after that happened, I was like, I felt like a child, like if all my past memories were taken from me, and I was like really scared, and I felt very innocent. And then the guy appeared as like a light. So I sat next to him and he put his hand on my leg, and suddenly I'm looking at every bad thing that happened to me. I can't remember what it was now, but it was like that the love that I felt radiating from him was so great that it made all those past memories just seem like nothing. It was like I got a release from it, and I was like a new creation at that point.
Is that the
And
guy you met?
so it was the guy I met, but it was, before I even knew who Jesus was, my mind said, this is Jesus. And so to this day, I wonder if that was Jesus taking over his body to come down and, free me. Um, Something weird though that happened right like before he transformed back into the guy, he put his hand on my core and he was like I could see the universe, and it was like he was pumping power into me, and then I got scared and he goes, you're not ready yet. And then he transformed back in the guy, and the guy was like, what was that? Like I'm like, I don't know. And then I never saw that guy again. But
You don't think did you watch my thing on Project Green Star
I did.
where they
Was
make
there
people have
something
these
about that?
experiments and where they make people think alien induction and all this stuff happens
Oh
and really it's
yeah.
all mind control. But
Yeah, I did see that, and I
you think some
wondered.
of that could be possible in
I
your
think
life?
so. I think so.
Yeah, because that I mean that's some deep stuff. You're obviously targeted for a spiritual reason, and there's a because I don't know, I've researched that extensively, and I really want to do another video on it to go into more evidence about it. But
Yeah,
like
that
they
would be
can make
good.
people have experiences and think they're so real, and they are real, but the people they think it is, it's really not them. Um, you know,
Yeah, but what about the love like that I felt?
oh,
I mean,
I
that could
believe
only
you
come
felt
from
that.
God. It's
I believe God touches people. He's touched me, and I believe I'm not taking away from your experience at all. I'm just saying a what if. Um,
Yeah, I think about it like, what was that
but
still?
if you have the experience you've had, I've had experiences like that too, where you can feel the love of God and God is with you. That's kind of the experience like when you see people
Definitely.
get the Holy Spirit and run around church and stuff. I've been that person and it's fell on me before. Um,
Oh yeah.
so I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think of questions to ask because this is a different kind of interview
Okay.
than normal, if you know what I mean.
Well, I can go on from there kind of like about the targeting,
Right.
because
So
I
you've been exposed to see some um very spiritual and uh deep stuff early on in in childhood and had
yeah.
some like really deep spiritual experiences. So do you think that's affected your targeting different than most people? Like, do you think it's drawing you closer to God?
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Right.
from that point on, something was different about me. Like I was new, and I had so much joy. Like I went from being miserable to joyful, and I had something had happened within a couple of weeks after that where the dad said, I don't want anything to do with you, and I don't want any the kids to do any have anything to do with you. And so I said, well, I'm gonna go kill myself then. And it was the strangest thing, because before I could even like hang up the phone and like take a step, there the police were on the other cordless phone, and I'm like, how is that even possible? And so I ended up in a mental institution, and they chalked it up to I was doing a lot of Xanax because I was really stressed out at the time. Like I was going through things with like gangbangers and stuff like that because I was in Southern California most of my life.
Oh, okay. Wow. So
And
you were in a very, very, very kind of like
oh yeah.
evil realm.
Oh yeah. Right next to the City of Angels. City of
Right.
Fallen Angels.
And the
Yeah, in
reason I
the
asked him question is not, and I wasn't taking away from your testimony, doubting anything you said. I'm just saying they have weapons that can make you experience different stuff. They even have, V2K. A lot of times, what they'll do is they'll act like um it's Jesus talking to somebody, or
yeah,
that's why it's called voice of God, or they'll act like they're demons, and you'll think it's real. I'm
yeah,
glad that they did my V2K is, my handlers, voice and stuff like that. So I don't want you to think I was taken away. I've seen some spiritual stuff. I've told Holly about supernatural stuff that's happened to me to save my life, and when I'm not even supposed to be here, but and I
exactly.
and I never take credit for it. I always give credit to the Most High because it was nothing I did. Um,
Yeah.
so moving on, so I do you think I really think if because some people do have the take that the whole targeting experience is a spiritual experience, and I'm very open minded. Uh, I think
Well, let me say
if that's
something to what you
possible,
said.
I think the tech is real, but
It,
is
yeah.
it did fallen angels give man that tech? And the reason I asked that because if you read the book of Enoch, fallen angels came and showed man how to make fire, make weapons of war. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not trying to go into super. I'm trying to keep this realistic as possible, even though it is realistic. But to people who are looking into targeting stuff, they might try to say it's not realistic. Uh, I think it's
Okay.
realistic. But I don't think the whole experience, I think it's a spiritual experience and it's a spiritual journey, sure. But there man-made tech that's being used on us definitely, and is their InfoGuard, is people like is governments responsible? Um,
Okay.
Possible. I mean, I can't say. I know for sure the government's responsible in certain kinds of way, but are they being influenced? That's a good question. I don't think so, but if you think so, that's part of your. I mean, that's up to that's your belief.
Okay. Let me say something and then I'll answer that. So I questioned my testimony. I questioned all that for a while, and I found in the scriptures as I was reading that Satan doesn't cast out Satan. And so that was like a confirmation to me that it was a good thing, like he would be divided against himself. So it makes me think that that was like an angel or something trying to help me to move on.
Right,
As for the government and the targeting and all that, I actually there's a lot of for like a few years I was deep into spiritual warfare, and since I can see in the spirit, I can actually see these different groups of people that are involved in this because so what everybody with him to hell or to the lake of fire. And so I've dealt with these groups of people in the spirit because God allowed me to do things in the spirit to take care of them, and like just like what they do to us, I did that back to them. Like I would jumble their thoughts and put them against each other until like a whole group of men were like fighting each other. So I took what the bad experiences and I turned it against them, and I think it caused them to like kind of pause and go, I don't know if I should mess with this one anymore. You know what I
right.
mean?
Uh,
Yeah, I have a few of those. A few years ago, I was like wondering what was going on in our own government. It was when Biden was in office. And
mm-hmm.
so I had looked in the spirit and I saw all these men that were in what looked like, have you seen those like masks that look like birds? They look like dark birds and they have like cone hats or something like that. Well,
Uh,
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Maybe someone will, but so I saw that. I saw a whole bunch of them. And then I found out that they were having like a special like a meeting there in the White House, and it was like one of the big meetings. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
I can't think of what it was now, but so that was just confirmation for me that, I'm actually seeing these things. And then I kind of moved on to turning all of what they do to us spiritually against them, because I know that they know that this is a spiritual thing that's going on with the targeting. I mean, yeah, like Jade Helm, we were talking about Jade Helm. Um,
yeah, but Jade Helm was man-made tech.
yeah, I was thinking a lot about it, and I'm thinking that this is three parts. This is physical, like their physical guns, physical or heart, yeah, what are the heart attack guns, things that can like break your teeth, things that they've created, like maybe in the between the 40s and the 70s that were physical. And then there's the spiritual part of it, which has been around for thousands of years because this is Satan's territory. Um, I can't remember what the other part was.
Physical, maybe.
No, and now they've added a third part, which is the infrastructure that they've created around us, like with the towers and the satellites and everything that's targeting us in that way, like our phones being used as things. Like I'll put on my airplane mode, turn off my Wi-Fi and my phone at night just so that I don't get the dream manipulation as bad, because
Right.
that's been the worst part of the targeting in my experience, is the dream manipulation. And like they woke me up yesterday at 5:30 to this clicking sound, and then all the power going out. And I ran out, and I my husband was up. It was like 5:30 in the morning. I'm going, what the heck just happened? Like, did our power just blow? He said nothing happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, they are messing with me.
Right. And I I'm trying to think of hmm.
I had like a couple weeks ago, I had a dream, and I'm dreaming about these two women like all night. And by the morning, one of them says to me, when you hear this sound, um, you'll know that it's an emergency. And like I got thrown out of sleep by my alarm, my smoke alarm going off one time, like one long beep. Like even the kids on the other side of the house heard it and woke up to it. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like they found me in this house and they've taken over my electricity or something.
Right. They could do all kinds of stuff. I told Holly I was in the shower the other day and it sounded like somebody was on the other side of the wall just do 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 knocking.
Yep.
They can make noises. They can make uh you know haunted. They can make a house seem haunted. They have technology to make all that stuff that people think are haunted houses. They
Yep.
can,
That's what it seems
not to
like
say
here.
that houses ain't haunting. I'm not saying all hauntings ain't real. However, I believe the Amityville horror. Always wondered when I was a kid. I read that book. as a child after we watched it, and I always wondered if it was real. Now I think it was a mind control experiment with technology and stuff,
Yeah.
and they drove the dude crazy and made him basically a Manchurian candidate for his family, because it is a real it really happened.
Yeah.
And then but they put stuff in the movie and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't, they can manipulate all kinds of stuff with this technology, and it goes a lot further than people can think,
Oh yeah. And
um,
it's been around for so long.
and they can even manipulate experiences and what people seem. They can manipulate. They can plant false memories. They can take your memory away. More trauma does that too. So, um, do you experience any direct energy attacks that you
Oh
know
yeah.
of?
Oh, definitely.
Could you kind
So
of,
it varies. About every 6 months I get this, like, where I wake up and it feels like my blood is boiling, like I'm boiling from the inside out, and it lasts maybe like a few minutes. And I'm like smacking my husband, like, please pray for me because this hurts really bad.
right?
And they don't do that very often, but yeah, it hurts.
Right. What about um, remote
I
neural
get
monitoring?
I get burning, like every once in a while I'll wake up sweating because my skin is burning. That's like the lower grade, what I think of the lower grade. I'm definitely monitored neurally, and I always wondered, like, are they connected to me somehow? Because how could they know? Like, how could they be so in my brain, you know? Um, I I I had experiences like I would be dreaming in kind of like Minecraft looking, like looks like reality, but it's kind of digitized. And at that time, the the Lord told me, this is going to be the reality for everybody. They're just I'm just showing you what they're going to do so that you don't turn and do something that's going to cause you, you know, to be put in that reality, which is, I mean, there's many parts to that, but one of them is when we're playing games or things like that, they're actually mapping our brain, so that when we go into that shift eventually, it will be seamless.
Right.
Um,
I guess that
yeah,
I guess that's got to do with blue light mind control, which is why it's good if you play games and stuff to wear blue light glasses. Which I got a
yeah, I'll
pair.
have to
I
get
wear them all the
some.
time. Uh, huh?
I'll have to get some of those.
Yeah. Have you read about the blue light mind control?
No, I've only heard about it over the years.
Yeah, I've got two pairs of glasses. Well, here's one right here. I mean, these are cheap, but I notice like if I play a game, if me and Holly, we got a retro game stick and we play Mario sometimes, Home Alone, stuff like that, just old game
Yeah,
or any kind of new game, or even when we're watching TV, I've found like if me and Holly's playing Home Alone or something together and we have these glasses on, if we don't have the glasses on, when we get done after about 45 minutes of looking at the TV playing and concentrating, our mind is wore out, our eyes are tired. However,
yep,
if we have the glasses on and take them off, your mind's not tired or nothing.
yeah.
So it
I
protects you from the blue light. Uh,
yeah, I notice I get headaches in the front of
but
my
I don't
head.
think I don't think they actually, I think maybe it helps them fine tune your mapping of your brain playing games, but I don't think they actually need that to map your brain out,
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
But I do agree that they do, and I really think I even read something where they monitor people's, and I know this is going to sound weird, but they monitor people's gameplay to see what kind of decisions they make, to see what kind of people they are. So if you're a person who goes around and you enjoy uh going around the world, like you're going in a game world and you just go around killing and just being reckless and stuff, they monitor that and write that down.
Yeah,
The
of
the
course.
researchers, like,
Yeah, I like to mix it up. It's just to make them think whatever.
right.
Um,
Um,
I haven't heard this from your channel because I've done a lot of research from your videos, which is I can't even think of some of the things that you've said that I've actually has perked up my brain going, oh yeah, I've experienced that. I can't think of it right now, but I wanted to ask you a question. I actually woke up in a dream. Well, I thought it was a dream, and I was in a place where there were doctors in white coats monitoring me, and I woke up and I became aware enough to say something to them directly, and then they started pretending like they didn't know I was there and they like left the room. Have you heard anything of that?
uh, no,
Okay.
not, but you got to understand, ever TI's experience is unique. Um,
Okay.
what you're describing right now and what you've been describing, sounds a lot like what some of the people described in MK Ultra. Um,
Okay.
and that's all the targeted program is a continuation of MK Ultra. It's so if they have somebody with you know ESP or spiritual gifts, of course they're going to target them different, um, and on a different level than somebody who might not have them gifts. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that
it's
makes
really
sense.
hard to, and I don't know it all, and I might not know, and I can admit, as advanced as this technology is, Duncan said this technology is 30 years what we know. So, all I
Yeah.
know is what I research and weapons that we know exist, and mind control technology and techniques that we've read about. They may be 30 years more advanced, and we may all be wrong about it.
Yeah.
And that's how deep this is, and I think they're
Well,
trying to bring the spiritual stuff out. That's why you're seeing more orbs and stuff. I think they're fixing to put this is my opinion. I think they're trying to put Project Bluebeam in place.
yes, I
Um,
agree.
definitely. So now you're seeing more spiritual stuff. People are seeing stuff in skies and
Yep.
stuff like that, and like them orbs and um,
Well, they've infiltrated most churches to think that there's going to be this rapture, but there's so many things that have to happen before the rapture or the harpazo. And
right,
so when this happens, what I heard was that these so-called aliens, which I've seen those spacecraft, they're very advanced. They move like nothing we've ever seen. They're
right,
probably going to take them away and they're going to do whatever with them. But yeah, it's
right. But
very,
it's
very
actually going to be
sad.
humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I've looked into them to one of them once to figure out like who's running these things and what just getting in their mind because they hate that they were fallen angels.
See, I can believe that before I would believe it's some man in a gray mask.
Yeah,
Before I believe it's some alien being that looks like a gray or something like that. And I actually don't even like uh,
yeah. There
talking
was a
about like alien stuff on the channel because it kind of discredits it. So,
yeah,
but
there was
fallen
a
angels, a fallen
testimony.
angel, yeah, that's because that's biblical.
Yeah,
Um, but I
there was a
think that when they
testimony of
abducted
a
these people back in the day and they had these masks on, it was just to throw them off or they would be all on the wrong trail and that they set all that up, this alien stuff up. And these people really did see aliens in their mind, but really it was
yeah.
mask and mind manipulation.
Yeah, that's interesting how they can make you see something that's not actually there.
Right. Well,
um
the,
when the sun, if the sun has solar flares, it seems like they turn up the all the colliders that are around the earth, and we have some kind of distortion going on because my brain starts playing tricks on me and I'm going, what the heck is going on? Like my body feels weird. I almost feel like I'm floating. And, there's just a lot of weird stuff to that. I
So
think they're
you don't
you
experience gang stalking, you don't experience
um
um
so I did during Jade Helm. I'm a stay-at-home homeschool mom, so I don't really go anywhere unless we go to like the river or something. And
oh, okay.
so I think that they just don't want to waste the money on me. And we finally moved into a place that's like private on all sides with a huge yard, which is awesome. So that like when they do crap, I'm like, I'm on to you, you guys. Like I know what you're doing. Like they'll try to keep me up early in the morning with loud music or something, and I know that that's what's going on.
Right.
But so as for
Do
gang
they do
stalking,
ever
not really.
do they ever do any street theater outside your house, like skits? Are you in a rural area?
A rural area, yeah.
Oh,
But
okay,
I don't
okay.
I don't notice any of that. I do notice, and I think it's bizarre, but I wonder if like sometimes there's a lot of homeless people, like transients through here. And they do things like yelp and scream and make like weird gunshot noises. And I'm thinking, this is so bizarre.
Right,
But like, I, I got a gun for protection, just in case.
right. Have they ever sent a honeypot in your life? Um,
That's really, um, I'm thinking that in the past, yes. And I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, I ended up getting away from the guy, but like he slashed my tires because I left him, and it was, I don't know. And then I went from one like abusive relationship to another thinking it was going to be different. um so like just after all those experiences with these, what I thought maybe were honeypots, I decided to take my brand new baby and move 1,000 miles away. And I had a little peace. I mean, I had peace for maybe a few months, because I moved up to Oregon, and it's like finally like my anxiety went away, my PTSD started subsiding. I wasn't having the dreams that were waking me up like screaming. um I was fine, and then the spiritual dreams started happening again, but it was like I was renewed to the point where I was strong enough to deal with it.
right,
And then I met my husband, and like I believe that since there's like a hierarchy in God's kingdom, like that's a sort of protection for me. Um,
that's
you
awesome.
know, yeah. So I've been protected in that sense.
Yeah,
Um,
because it had to been hard growing up in California in the hood, and well,
yeah. Oh my gosh. They tried to give me medication, and I was like, no, I'm fine. And I told them, like I'm good. And they're like, wow, you must have a direct line to God. And I was like, I do. you
right,
know,
yeah.
God will help me. And he
And I'm
did,
sure he proved
because
himself many times in that rough area and rough situations. I know he has in
oh
my life.
yeah. I remember telling my friends, I can't die, you guys. Like I can't die. And driving on the wrong side of the road, showing them like I can't die, I'm telling you. But after I moved to up to Oregon, I got involved in a church because I thought that that was the right thing to do at the time, to find people that were believers, which I mean in the church system, like I didn't realize later that it's more, it's not what you think it is. You don't really know until you know. But like I got in the worship team and I was worshiping one night, and I had been posing this question to God, like I really wanted to know. I felt bad that I left my my husband, my ex-husband, and he audibly said to me, I brought you out. Like I saved you. And but so I audibly heard this loud booming voice, and like to this day I wonder, like, is that like the system or was that really God? You know,
Right.
like what you're saying about the V2K. Like
Right.
are this is the system guiding me and directing me in a certain way for some reason, or is that God helping me?
Right. Um, yeah, and that makes people question stuff. Definitely, there's definitely some good churches out there. They're very hard to find though. I grew up in the Bible Belt, and was in a church.
Okay.
I was in a church of about 193 people, and it was a Pentecostal church, and I witnessed Sister Maggie. She had 2 weeks to live. She had something, and I can't mention it on my channel, all through her body,
Okay.
level 5, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And so she hadn't been to church in like 2 or 3 months. She was so sick, and they brought her in the front of the church, and we're all praying for her, and they had people up front praying for her, and they carried her in and laid her there. Well, I seen her
Yeah.
jump up, run around the church,
Amen.
and she went back to the doctor, and there was nothing there no more. And the doctor even started coming to church. So them
Yes.
churches are few and far between, I feel, this day and age. But I really think, the people are the body of Christ, and
Yes.
we're going to focus on targeting, but the body of Christ is not in a building. You know,
Exactly.
it's in your heart, and it's one collective.
Yeah, the Bible says we are the church.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We actually walked away from organized religion like maybe 12 years ago and just formed a group of a fellowship,
That's awesome.
and it's been really good. Yeah. Yeah. We do directly by the Bible, like we help each other, and when we're together, if someone brings a prophecy, then we speak one at a time, things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And
And it can be hard, because people, they tell you the truth, and it's hard to hear sometimes because walking as a Christian is not easy. People think it's
right.
like
But if
some
people
like
really love you, people will tell you the truth no matter how bad,
exactly.
oh yeah. Yep.
It's not
Yep.
easy though. It's like, yeah, you got to change. You got to change your mind. Get your mind right is what one of our guys says in our fellowship.
Right. They'll tell you, see, because some people are scared to tell people what they want to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
what they need to hear because it offend them. But if you love them, you'll tell them, most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I
So
think it's
were you
actually
isolated?
isolated.
Yeah, most targets go through a point of a smear campaign. People all of a sudden all their friends just stop talking to them. Their family will shy
Oh
away from
yeah.
them. They won't understand none of it. They'll be totally isolated for a while.
Yep.
And some of them their whole life. And that happens with most targets. Um,
Yeah, I have a long time of that. I mean, that was one of the reasons I came to the Lord, was because I had nothing and nowhere to go. And I was like, what's the point? And then it led to that, um, that guy calling out the demons and me becoming free. But yeah, like I've been homeless a few times where nobody would help me. And it was like, I'm not on drugs. I have a job. Like why are you guys acting like this? And so one of the things I wonder is like, are people mind manipulated without thinking they are, or without knowing they are?
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, that's how so many people, that's how some people like when I had the whole airport stalking me. I don't think that them people really, some of them really knew what they were. I think some of them knew their job and what to do, um,
Yeah,
but I don't think they all knew what they were doing.
yeah.
Um,
There's definitely a separation between like true believers and the rest of the world,
right,
is it's what it seems like. I mean, whether they're manipulated by demons or the system, which I think are one and the same. I think it's fallen angel technology.
right. And again, I ask my viewers. I know not everybody that watches my channel is a believer, but I like letting everybody tell their story. And
Okay.
then letting people and letting and my viewer, I'm talking to my viewers right now. I like letting y'all, you watch it with an open mind. And don't judge anybody's story because you don't know, you haven't been in the people's shoes. Sure, it may sound different than most stories, but different people are on different paths, and everybody's target is unique. So all I ask is that if you're not a believer and then you don't have to, you don't have to listen. I ask that you would listen with an open mind. I would listen to your story with an open mind, because I've had a lot of people that come on here that aren't believers that tell their story. So I ask that you would give the same respect that I would give you. Um, Moving
Okay,
on.
so can I say something before we
Uh-huh.
move on? So to what you said, I have to say, I know there's good people in this world, that not most people are not bad. Like they're not outwardly bad people. From my own experience, from coming from like out of demonic, you know, activity to becoming totally free, what I found was you're protected under the blood of Jesus. But I didn't know that I was until like a couple of years after that. But there's a protection to where you, whether you're a good person or not, the demons can come in and try to manipulate you to do or say things. Not that everybody will, but like, I mean, that has to be said because like this is a spiritual war, and like that's the whole point of this. Like we're in this place where Satan wants to take everybody, and until you can realize that you need someone greater than yourself, like they say in AA, then you're just living to what? You're just living to like become nothing, like die and be nothing. No, there's only two places to go. There's to be with the Lord forever, or to go to the lake of fire eventually, you know? And I know
Right.
that because of my entire just extreme experience of that. And he was like, like in a sense through the scriptures, he was saying, like, I have forgiven you of much, and now it's time for you to turn around and proclaim me and tell people, like this is what it is. And I think my just what I went through is testimony enough to like hopefully the people that are watching and listening, that they can see like this is real, this is really happening, and this is definitely a spiritual war that we're in.
Right. And I think most of my viewers believe that. However, you have targets that's been tortured to death, that don't have family, that don't have nothing, that are on the streets, lost everything, that they've killed their family members and all that, who gave up on God, who are mad at God. I was one of them. So
Yeah,
that's why I asked them to listen with an open mind. And then,
yeah.
I have people who are Muslims that watch this channel. I don't judge them, and that's why I ask them to listen with an open mind. Um, and but because this stuff will make you bitter, it'll make you like, Job never questioned God.
Yeah.
When Job questioned God, but he never he believed God. I don't even want to go into that right now because they're fumbling in my mind, so I'm not even going to speak. But
Okay.
all I can tell you about Job is if you go to Job 42:10, he got back double when he prayed for his friends. So when all that stuff was going on, instead of praying for himself, he prayed for his friends who ridiculed him and criticized him, and God gave him
Yeah,
back double.
that was,
But I definitely believe they can manipulate behavior, manipulate actions, emotions, force speech. I know they can, anger, and all that.
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when you say B2K, I don't, sometimes I get like this really loud, audible sounds that are just strange, but most of it is like what seems like kind of under, like they're whispering in a sense. And
Right,
I just think to myself, just ignore that. Just
right,
ignore whatever that is because they're just trying to get you to say something to somebody or whatever.
right. I got a couple more questions, and
Okay.
one of them is, do you get tinnitus?
Oh yeah.
Ringing in your ears, popping
I've
in your
had
ears?
tinnitus since I was 14 when they turned the internet on.
Okay.
I remember going running into my parents' bedroom going, "What is that sound?" And they're like looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "It's so loud in here." Yeah, sometimes I have to sleep with music because I can't go to sleep because the ringing is so loud
Okay.
and
Yeah,
it's
that
all the
explains a lot
time.
if you
Yeah.
started experiencing it at 14, because that's a side effect of these weapons is tinnitus. Um,
Okay.
how is this affected? And you know what we discussed that you can't say and stuff on here due to me being censored, which other channels can say, and I don't understand it. But um, how has this affected your health?
That's very interesting because for years, like 10 years, I had a lot of pain throughout my body, which they put like an umbrella word on it, you know? So I went and I got the medication and I was like I was listening to some guy, Bob Proctor, and he said, "Your mind is so powerful, you can overcome anything." And so in that moment, after I had weaned myself off the hard medication, I said, "I no longer have," and then the diagnosis. And it was instant. It was gone. So praise the Lord, I've been healthy
Oh, so
since
you
then.
were healed from a serious diagnosis?
Yes, after
Praise
10
God.
years. Oh my gosh. Because like God made us, these perfect, well, we're in a fallen world, but he made us these perfect beings with minds. And our mind really, like, I think that's why they control our mind, because our mind is so strong, that we can actually say like I don't have this anymore. I mean, that was my case anyway. I don't know if that could be true for everybody. I mean, sometimes I think God uses things for to like humble people. So I think it varies. It just
Right,
from case to case. But yeah, that was my experience with it.
right. Uh, and another one, is there a message or anything you would like to say to the viewers as far as targeting, any kind of positive message you'd like to give to them, or tips
Sure.
of how you deal with your targeting?
Yeah. A lot of it is mind. And so if you don't care, that they're doing these things and you just, live your life, to the most joy that you can, you know, then I mean they're not going to stop, but it's not it's not going to affect you, you know. Um Worship music for me or any kind of music is or singing, I love to sing. That is something that like when it's really bad, that just shatters all of it. It just gone. Um that's a big one for me is music. I don't
Right,
know if I probably would have been gone crazy a long time ago if I didn't have music.
right. And I find that helpful too, praising God. That's really helped me detach from last week and all that stuff. And I was really, really in a bad spot for a minute,
Yeah. I I
obsessing.
I have a small testimony to that. Um a few months ago, I was I noticed something was off in my house with my kids and my husband, and so I just started singing. I just started praising and singing out loud. And my daughter, who was 11 at the time, she goes, "Mom, when you were singing, I was so angry with you. And then I saw this demon jump off like of me and run out of the house." And I was like, wow, because they hate it. They hate worship music.
Right. It definitely
I'm
puts
sorry
you.
if I'm being too religious or whatever. That's just
No, you're
me. I've
not. I
I've
just,
just been
I
like
just hope
that.
you're not. I just like, I hope my viewers understand that I let everybody come and tell their own story, and
Yeah.
if they listen with an open mind.
It's
Um,
like you can't ever unlearn it. You can't ever go back because you have you've tasted the goodness.
right. Uh,
Today's a good day, by the way. I'm having a really good day. That's why I'm so joyful. Like, not all days are like this. A
yeah, and
lot of
actually,
days are really hard, actually.
right, and actually, I don't want to turn this into no Bible thing. And I've actually been getting criticized for reading the Bible, and I'm just letting y'all know, anybody who's heard the criticism, I'm not going to stop. There was a thing in Second Chronicles where 20 where Israel was facing a battle that they could not win. They were heavily outnumbered, and God told them to send a crew in front of them, praising Him, praising the Most High with a banner that said Jehovah Nisi. Uh, and so they went ahead praising. And when they got to the bottom of the hill, you know, God had won the battle for them. So
Amen.
praise and then the Bible, a psalm says God inhabits the praises of his people. So praise is very powerful. So I think that
Yeah.
that's very good advice for
And
anybody.
it's interesting. Most of the scriptures about battles in the Bible, they were almost always outnumbered,
Right,
and they won
right,
because no one can defeat God,
right.
the Almighty.
Was there anything else you have?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. One of the other things about my testimony, about God, I, after the demons came out and all that, I had been told that I need to leave the property. And that's when I became homeless for the first time. And I looked up to the sky. Well, there was a tree. And I was like, if you're out there, please help me. And it was like suddenly my enemy that pulls up into the driveway, because she was like the person that hated me the most in that moment, became like a friend almost. Like, she was helping me. So there's something to say to that. Like, everything shifted in that moment. And I don't know, maybe someone needs to hear this. It's interesting. It's why I believe is that moment when everything shifted.
Right,
All it doesn't take like an altar call. It's like all you got to do is let him know, like, I'm, I need help, because we all need help sometimes.
right. And that's what I tell people. That preacher in the church is no more powerful in spiritual warfare, no more powerful in prayer than you are. You just got to know your identity in him,
Exactly.
and once you know who you are, and even if you don't know who you are, if you cry out with your heart, he will hear you.
Amen. That's absolutely right.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think that's it. You want to talk about Jade Helm and like what happened?
Uh, what happened with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay. So I had that video that I have posted. I had watched or listened to that like three, four, 5 times before the exercise. And so I had it already kind of memorized, like what was going to happen. So we had all taken a trip to the grocery store because my husband, he's a dairy guy. He delivers and does stuff like that. And while he was in the store and we were all waiting, a guy walks up and I look at his feet and I could tell he had just rubbed dirt on his feet. He looked like a soldier, you know, and he was like, can you buy me some food? And of course, I usually say yes. Like, I mean, I don't turn people away when they ask. And like he had like whispered something under his breath and turned and looking in the parking lot towards this couple that was like walking on another lay aisle. And then they all laughed. And I was like, oh, this is weird. Like I was trying to remember, like, don't react because of the video, but I know I had a reaction. Like, it spooked me. And when we got home, everything in our place, like the little knickknacks or whatever, they were all slightly moved. And I knew from then on, I was like, okay, this is way more now. Like, they've upgraded, to the next level.
Right.
Sorry about the noise.
Oh, I don't hear the noise, but
Oh, okay.
well, is that all you have now?
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm sorry, like this is a different experience. I'm not used to, yeah,
Yeah, I apologize
and
if I went
I
off.
believe that everything you said, uh, that you experienced. So, but I just wasn't used to, or I would have had different questions. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I just need to, maybe, get the person's side, get more about the person before I interview them. Because I could
Yeah.
have came with a lot better questions and stuff. But it is what it is, and I think it's still a good interview for people who,
Well,
um,
if you want to do another interview, I can do that if you have other questions.
right. We'll work on that. We're like
Okay.
right now we're kind of slowed down on it because we're real busy around here with responsibilities, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But
I know what you mean.
definitely in the future, I would like to, bring you on, listen to this interview and bring you on with some different questions, because I'm used to the smear campaign, the most people's targeting. However, I am aware that there's totally different targeting, and I think a lot of them people are scared to come out. And I do appreciate your bravery for coming out to talk about
Well,
this because I know it takes a lot to come out and talk about stuff like this.
so I did have smear campaign down south, but um up
No, what I'm talking
here,
about is most people's experiences are not as deeply with
okay.
the spiritual realm as yours. Like
What I did have that within my own family. Like they would smear my name all over to everybody saying, "Oh, she's just this way and she's never going to change." And but I don't know if that has to do with targeting.
know what I mean, like textbook targeting, like smear campaigns, direct energy weapons, uh being radiated, being stalked everywhere you go, um noise campaigns,
The
stuff
the
like
main
that.
the
You
most that I
definitely
get is the dream manipulation.
right. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is your targeting is a lot deeper and a lot more spiritual and in a different sense, than other
Okay.
people's. And I think there's a lot more out there. And they're probably scared to come forward because, and I think it takes a lot of bravery to come forward. And I really appreciate that, the fact that you have
Uh,
the bravery to come forward because it's
thank
not easy
you.
to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, they were trying to make me not say anything. like for a few
Right.
days, and I was just ignoring it. Like, nope, I'm gonna do it.
Right. And I'm
I'm
glad
like,
you
am I
did.
really targeted? And then like some crap like what happened in my room happened, and I was like, yeah, something's going on.
Right. And
Yeah,
I just like to think good always wins in the end. We may not
yeah,
we may not get justice in this lifetime, but God's just the Most High will have his justice.
yeah. He told me a few times, I'm coming to restore the fortunes to the tribes of Israel.
Right.
And that's all of us because, of what Jesus did. So,
Right. Yeah. Even
yep.
we're all grafted in.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
right. Well, I'm gonna end this now and we can say our goodbyes. I really appreciate you coming out again, and I'm sorry I should have, next
No.
on I'm gonna start making sure like I know more about the person's targeting. That way I can have the correct questions. So that was totally my fault. Uh,
Oh, okay.
and
I
and
appreciate
I
you
will
letting
improve
me tell
that.
my story.
Oh, no problem.
I've never
I'm
told
thank you
it
for your
before.
bravery.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm gonna
Okay.
stop the recording right now.